Hello, guys. Today is more of a lesson for myself, but I suppose that this can be output towards anyone who sees this. Is why we don't trade against our rules. Now, this trade I took on Friday wasn't necessarily a trade against my um, my strategy or entry model rules. It was more against my trading philosophy and psychology, which is that I don't trade whilst in work because I work a part-time job, right? And sometimes, like most days, I can trade like 12 out of 14 trading days in a 3 week period, and that's super good. That's like 90% or something. It's like a super good rate at which I can trade. Now, two of those are in London session, which is fine. It's on a Friday, which was technically that day. Yesterday, which is yesterday now. It's Saturday today. I'm recording this. I was super tired last night. The new Dexter series came out, so yeah, I was super tired. I just wanted to chill out, watch that. I had zero energy to do a full recap type video, and I just thought it's the wrong time to do it. I wouldn't put the energy into it. I should have done it really just for consistency purposes, but again, I feel like this is going to be a better value video for me to look back on. So yeah, I'm going to leave the charts exactly as they are because I want to show this is why we don't trade on when I'm in work. Now, I was on my break when this trade happened, right? So it kind of lined up perfectly with me being able to trade it, which was fine, and then I can kind of keep an eye on it off after my break, which is not easy, but it's also not hard. Now, yeah, so I managed to take this on my break, which was great, but if we look here, obviously the trade lost. However, I got stopped at break even. Now I set if you see this big move down, whilst I was in profit, so when we got halfway to TP, because I think I hit like a 1 to 2, yeah, look, over a 1 to 2 RR, I set to break even, just because I was like, look, this move's made its down move now, and I'll usually trail my stop loss in profit as well. That's another thing I'll do. And if you look here, we made, let's get my drawing tool. So we come down here, a new lower high, and then a new lower low. So for me, trailing my stop loss above this high and where my entry model was based off was a good area to stop at, which we did come back up towards my entry and the same confluence that I used. So what I want to do is I want to go through everything first. So if we come to the 4 hour, as you can see, upon market open, or just prior to market open, I should say. I think it was prior, yeah. Did I just accidentally delete that? I feel like I did. Maybe I didn't. No, I thought I might have had market open, so I can mark. Okay, I can mark out market open. So market opens here, right? So I obviously marked out London highs and Asia highs because I was bearish on the day. Because if you look here, we had broke structure during London session, and we had a few confluences to go for. So we had Asia highs, we had London highs, and then we also had this 4 hour fair value gap and a 4 hour inverse fair value gap. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't see the inverse fair value gap at first, but I knew the 4 hour gap was there, right? And we also had a similar instance on Nasdaq. So again, 4 hour break of structure to the downside, and then we also had a 4 hour gap, and then we had London highs and Asia highs. Now I only marked these out on, I don't know why those lines, I don't remember those being on my screen. So I didn't mark these out on my phone. I actually couldn't tell you why, but again, this is another reason why we shouldn't be trading, because look, I'm doing things that I don't. It might have been because by the time I'd gone on my break, I think this was it. See, this is the other thing, not being able to journal live, and because you forget things, you did, especially in work. Like you don't, like you can clearly see I've not charted out a lot here. which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I don't think charts should be filled with drawings and making it complicated, but if we look, we took out those Asia highs from Nasdaq already. I think maybe even upon market open. So that's what I was looking for, right? And then we got a big Asia session push, which was great. And then I thought, look at this SMT form. We only ended up taking out London highs during my trade. So come on, bro, getting all these adverts. Yeah, this is what happens when you use the free version of TradingView. But yeah, so we ended up taking out London highs, but on Nasdaq. Yo, where's my market opener? Did I or did? Oh no, I didn't. Oh, like I said, I didn't literally mark out anything. So if I do that now, so yeah, we made a really good SMT because we already pushed past the Asia highs, London highs, everything was taken out, right? And then on the S&P, we were forming a big SMT. Now, we ended up taking London highs, which is a really good confluence because this means we wanted to tag some of the highs, but then we didn't tag Asia highs like Nasdaq did, and then we didn't also fill as much of the gap here. So yeah, a couple of SMT within the SMT, there were a couple of confluences that were really looking good. Now, I initially went to the 1 minute, right? My initial entry, I do remember this now. I remember this exact entry. I was going to say, let's take it. Yeah, right. This is the better chart. So, look, we get a 1 minute break here, and then I was looking for an entry, right? And then we get this tiny fair value gap. It should be one sec. Here, right? Tiny fair value gap. Now, I'm pretty sure on. I might have been looking at my future chart. I'm pretty sure it filled it. So, what's that? So we had that tiny 1 minute. We get a tap up to it, and then we react down. Now look, it lined up with my initial entry because at first I was just gonna live test it. I was gonna be like, okay, live test, cool, we'll do that. But then we had this like continuation down, and then I was just like, oh, I don't know, because we started building low resistance liquidity on the 1 minute, and I was like, look, 15 minute could have retraced. So I thought, do you know what? This strategy is also built for the 5 minute. So what did I do? I waited for a 5 minute break of structure, and then I waited for, if we look here, 5 minute break of structure, and then if you see this red box, that is an inverse fair value gap, right? We obviously reacted it initially because I was watching market here. So we had this inverse fair value gap. Now we got the break of structure first underneath this candle closure. Underneath this candle closure, we got a 5 minute break of structure, and then we got an inverse, which was quite a big push down. Now at first I was like, whoa, do you know what I mean? I was not. And then we pushed down here, and because we built all this low resistance liquidity, I was like, So I ended up waiting for the 5 minute to get tapped into. I don't think so. This entry wasn't as accurate, I think, because that wasn't my actual entry. That was just my live test entry. So what happened was, when I actually entered on my MetaTrader 5, I entered like this, right? So I waited for the 5 minute. We have the 5 minute candle push back into the inverse fair value gap, and then we have the 5 minute candle push back out, right? So on the 1 minute, if we go back now, here we go. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, so I think I entered on that 5 minute candle, and then I might have waited until we had, yes, this was it. We had the 1 minute break of structure down then, right? So I waited for the confirmation because we had a 1 minute break of structure back up. Now we only had 5 minute bearish trend at that point, or bearish confirmation confluence. So I wanted to wait for the 1 minute confirmation after the tap into the inverse fair value gap, even though we had the 5 minute, bro, I hate these charts sometimes. Even though we had the 5 minute push out, and yeah, I could have technically entered, I waited for the 1 minute break of structure 2, which was obviously another 1 minute candle push down. Sorry, 5 minute candle push down. And then look, as soon as I entered, like only a few minutes later, we pushed down like quite hard, and I was like, whoa, this is moving quick. And at that point I thought, well, look, I'm like almost halfway to TP, so if price was going to do what I wanted it to do, what I predicted it to do, which was come and take out the market opening lows and then London lows, which are two forms. It's a form of low resistance liquidity. If we were going to do that after this big sell-off, then we were going to go straight there. There was zero reason we'd want to come back up, given our confluences, and come and take them out. Now it looks like we might do after weekend open, but look, it ended up just chopping up, taking out more highs, and then coming back down later in the evening. So yeah, there were a few things that I did right and wrong, right? So my entry model stayed the same. I was totally right. And look, my confluences were great. We had a huge high time frame SMT. So technically, this for me would have been an A setup, maybe A plus. I didn't see much to say. No, the only thing that I think would have made it an A plus over, say, an A or a B plus, is that we only had 4 hour break of structure. We didn't have 4 hour bearish overall trend. As you see, we're obviously daily bullish, as you see. So for me, if it was going to be A plus, it would have to be like 4 hour full trend. So like, say for instance, we had another candle here that, say this candle came down and then we came up and this was my entry somewhere around here, and then we were going back down, because we're already in a full bearish continuation trend then, which would give me a lot more confluence and a lot more confidence in the setup itself. But the actual setup itself was great. We got the S&T, so yeah, that was the only thing I think that would be a lot better, because we had the 4 hour break structure, because technically we could still be bullish. And yeah, look, we broke structure back up on Nasdaq anyway. S&P's 4 hour break of structure till, so bearish order flow is technically still intact, but I imagine by Monday it's just going to come straight back up. But yeah, this is why we don't trade when we can't fully lock in on the charts, because look, I was blessed to have put my stop to break even. I preserved my capital, and I wasn't greedy, especially whilst in work. I understood the risk I was taking, and that was another thing. I understood the risk I was putting down, and I'd like to add, I didn't trade this on all my accounts. I traded on one account, which was the one that we made 6% on Thursday, and I put a 0.5% risk down. So on my £70,000 account with FTMO, I put £350 down as the risk. So I was looking for a 1 to 4 RR, so I would have made 2% off it. I wasn't looking to pass, I wasn't desperate to, because initially I was like, bro, if I put 2% down, I'd pass this, and that initially was the first line of thought, and I thought, it's not worth it. But trading on a Friday, we had a lot of mental fatigue from the Thursday, and I'm in work, and I'm on my break, so it's not a lot of time to manage the trade, especially afterwards. So yeah, half risk down on one account was enough, and we ended up getting stopped at break even anyway, and I took that as a sign, and just to show me exactly why we don't trade when we're not locked in on the charts. Now, would I have took this trade if I wasn't at work and I was fully on the charts? Probably. And we probably still would have got stopped out at break even, but I think it's just important that we remember why we stick to our rules and routine within trading. You know, full pre-market analysis that takes half an hour, maybe a little bit less now, and then a full introduction, especially on camera, on mic, why we're taking a trade, what we're doing, what we're looking for, and then we wait for market open to do those things. Because look, if we get rid of this was all I marked out, literally. Now, like I said, it doesn't need to be complicated, but at the same time, I didn't mark out the inverse for value gap and 4 hour fair value gap. You know, I didn't mark out previous day low or high, or which I don't even know where it is. Look, so looks like we took out that during Asia session. And it's just little things like that would be worth noting, and just being able to keep in mind, because sometimes you miss something that could make or break a trade, where you'd be like, oh, actually I don't like that, even though you have your bias, you could see if this happens, then I'm going to be way less confident to put risk on the table. So yeah, that's kind of about it. I made the right decision to not get greedy and put my stop loss to break even as soon as I saw momentum, and then yeah, that's about it really. I mean, even if we lost, I wouldn't have been complaining because, again, I adjusted the risk to the position I was in, to the situation I was in. I didn't full port like my accounts and go 2% risk, let's pass tonight, let's pass on Friday for the end of the week. No, we're being patient, and yeah, this is just a reminder not to trade now. I should be able to trade every day next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday easily, and Thursday again, and then Friday will be a London session trade. Now, the only thing I might as well go through this whilst we're on here. So let's go through news for the week. So no news Monday. I'm probably going to be risk off, actively avoiding the markets, maybe even just take the day off. It depends how much. If we get like an A+ setup, I might put half risk down. Especially because we have this now on Tuesday. Looking at this now, if we have this build up to this, is going to be slow on Monday definitely, unless anything external comes out. But again, I can't guarantee that, so we have to work with what we've got. So no news Monday. I'll probably be looking not to trade now. Tuesday we get a lot here, so we can ignore the GBP news because that's so late at night anyway. But it won't affect us now. 130 CPI. That's great. It's before market open. It'll bring a lot of volume, a lot of liquidity into the market, and hopefully some good price action. PPI on Wednesday, same again. No different. Looking to trade, full risk on if we see a valid setup. Thursday, unemployment again. Looks like another great day for trading. And Friday, orange folders are still good. I would be waiting to trade. Maybe just wait until that news comes out. But I will be trading London session, so it will be a gold trade. So I'll just be trading that as normal. So tons of opportunity in the week. It looks like that's how it will. I'll probably just avoid, given all this opportunity, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I would be happy to just avoid Monday altogether. I would rather leave the day out that, will have zero volume. Well, not literally, but, I think Monday will be a quiet day. So, yeah, I'll definitely be risk off if we see a setup. I'll de-risk, but then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, full gas. We'll hopefully looking to make some good trades. It'd be great if we could pass the evals on that. Definitely pass phase 1 on the 70k. I think it'd be great if we could pass the top step account, and then it'd be great if we could bring our other 70k challenge, which is now about 4.5% down when we were about 8% down, which is great. It'd be great if we could bring that back to maybe break even during the week, but there's no rush with that. And then my live account, my live 10k with FTMO, that's again about 3.5% down. So I think bringing that down to back to break even would be some good merits for the week. But we'll see what market brings, and yeah, there's not much more to say. I just wanted to make sure I did a recap on this Friday trade, because the worst thing to do is trade. And now technically this is definitely a losing trade because the bias was wrong in the end, but we broke at break even. So look, the bias was wrong. We came out and take more highs, and then we do it again and again. So I'm gonna mark this as a loss, but we broke at break even, so we made obviously the correct decision there. Like I said, when market makes momentum like this, you tend to keep going. Like you would just see a bigger and bigger move each time, and that would be a take profit hit. So if it starts going against you, or at least if it's gonna do it, it's gonna do it. So it's not even worth the risk of going, oh, it might move against me. Just set to break even, and it saves you a likely loss. But yeah, that's it. Don't trade when you're doing that, and then only trade when you have the time. And if you can trade full time, then do that. It's something I'm definitely working towards. So yeah, it'd be great to have that. But I wanted to keep some discipline, keep focused. It's Saturday evening. I'd rather do this and have it help my discipline in this. So yeah, that's about it. I have not much more to say. Do you know what? We can have a look at gold. Let's have a look at gold. I think I did look at it because I was able to trade this on Friday morning. This was another thing. So I was able to trade this on Friday morning, right? But what I did was, I don't know why that's there. What I did was on Friday morning, because I could have recorded and I didn't, and this is why. So here you go. There's Asia low, right? Now, market opened here, right? So market opened here, and look at Asia low, right? So I woke up about 6:30, and I always have a quick look. I'll just see how market's rolling. Now look at this. Look at this. We started chopping, right? But not only that, we were already going up and up. We were going quite hard up. And obviously then we didn't stop, so I was just like, I didn't even bother, because I was like, I really don't believe on Friday gold is going to bomb it down here, fill out 0 gaps, because there was no gaps. You only have this kind of order block. There's some 1 hour gaps, but again, it's like, I just truly didn't believe it wasn't going to come down and do that, so I just thought there's literally 0 point. It makes 0 sense. Now, the only other thing I could have done with, if we look here, our setup did perform. We took out some 5-minute lows here. That's literally it. That's all we did during London. 5-minute lows and then like a 5-minute break of structure. Now, yeah, could have traded this, could have won, but again, it's like, is it worth trading a model like that just for the sake of it? No. I saw this and I didn't take it. Now look, could have hit a 1 to almost 9 RR. I mean, it depends where you take profits, but if you wanted to target, say that high, we hit it, and look, that would have been probably a 1 to 8. Yeah, 1 to 8 risk reward, right? And sure, that's great, but why would I take that based on a 5-minute low sweep? Now, if we had come all the way down here, took out Asia low, and probably these lows here as well, them lows as well, then, and then look back up, then yeah, I would have took the trade, 100%. And look, this is what gold can offer, because I've seen it happen. Gold will come down, it will come down, it will sweep, and then we get the break structure up, and then yeah, we'll go and take an external high. Now generally you would be targeting Asia high, so my take profit would technically be here. So if we did get some form of set, look, 1 to 4 RR, I would be out, bro. That is a payday. I would be out of that. If we came down here, if we came down to our Asia low, 5-minute breaker structure, even a 1 to anything from a 1 to 2 to a 1 for 3, I would be done, bro. Maybe a 1 to 2 I would set to break even and trail my stop loss under structure. But other than that, bro, I'd be out. I'd be happy to just make, like 2-3% on a day. Who isn't taking that? Like, yeah. So anyway, I just thought I'd do this quick video. Well, I'll say quick video. I don't even know how long I've been recording for now, but I'm glad I've done this. It's a great journal. It's great for confidence and building confidence for myself. I can say that now as I'm making this video. I feel much better for making this. Much more confident. I'm still confident in my skills because look, we even when just glancing at the charts, I was still able to follow my entry model. I waited and waited and waited, and I didn't go off the 1 minute because I was like, I wasn't confident in the 1 minute, so I waited for the 5 minute, waited for a 5 minute confluence, which was the inverse for value gap, and then a reaction, and I waited. So there's still some wins there. I was patient because what I used to do if I ever traded in work on my break, I would rush into trades. I would go, oh, I need to come off my break, and I would just enter a trade and force bias, force confluences that weren't necessarily there. So yeah, I'm still super happy with how I'm performing. It was just one little mistake, and I feel like getting stopped out at break even was a little warning for me. Even though it was only on one account that I traded on with half risk, like I did many good things yesterday. So I have to point those out. I can't point out all the bad, which was only literally one bad thing, to be honest, which was just not being on the charts, which means I can't look in and analyse everything properly. But other than that, we still did everything great to the book. So I've got to still pat myself on the back for that, because I still showed discipline in my trading and how I trade and why I take trades, which is what's going to lead to long-term gain. But yeah, hope everyone enjoys the weekend. I'm going to enjoy mine. Mental reset. And yeah, I'll be on the charts Monday, but again, I'll be actively looking not to trade. So no rush. There's a full week ahead. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday look like great days to trade. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.